Adam, I'm going to sing you a little song, all right?
All right, let's go.
Do you have some time for me? Then I'll sing a song for you of 99 Play PSVR 2, the podcast episodes on their way to the horizon. Maybe you're thinking about me just now. Then I'll sing a song for you from 99 Play PSVR 2, the podcast episodes. And that's something like that comes to something like that. 99 Play PSVR 2, the podcast episodes. Welcome to Play PSVR 2, the podcast, episode 99. We're going to be releasing that single on Spotify here as its own special broadcast, but 99 Luft Balloon sang in the tune of PSVR 2 for those interested. Adam, how are you doing? Are you feeling feeling ready for some turkey, some Turksgiving?
Oh, you know it. And I'm thankful for the fact that Trucker VR, we released this single to some of the very special developers. They're interested in putting it in their next game. It would fit perfectly with I'm not a toy. And what was the other one? Something about cake? Like
Get
cake,
it?
cake,
Somebody
cake.
get my cake on, yeah.
Yeah, get your cake on. That's dude, it fits perfect. I love it. It was well done, Alex. Well done. And I want to cover Gamer Juice because we got a lot to talk about. A Thanksgiving filled PSVR episode about games, recollections, and what we're gonna do to be thankful for the PSVR. You go first. You tell me what your Gamer Juice is.
My gamer juice is Smirnoff Ice Smash. Uh,
What? Dude, we used to make fun of people in college who drank those.
yeah, make fun of me. It's pineapple plus coconut flavored. Nothing about this sounds good.
No, that I hate coconut. Oh wow, that sounds. Take a drink. This has to be bad. It has to be.
It's not good. It's not
Why
good.
do you buy these things?
Adam, this is a chance for me to broaden my horizons. I don't do this podcast for entertainment. I do this podcast to grow as a person. And this is a component of my personal growth that I'm going to drink Smirnoff Ice Smash Pineapple plus coconut.
Dude, I do the podcast for you, the people.
Oh,
So
not
you
for
don't
me.
have to. You, the people. I got ginger beer. I love me some ginger. I'm real mad. It's not a twist off. Who makes bottles nowadays that's non-alcoholic that it's not a twist off? That's bullcrap.
It's to make you look like the real deal.
I mean, maybe, but come on. So what happened is I bought a 4-pack and I was like, I'm gonna down one of these MFs on the way back to my place in the car, hoping I get pulled over, them thinking it's alcohol, and I was drinking on the job. Of course, I would never ever even conceive doing that. I don't even really drink much, but I couldn't make it happen because I couldn't open the bottle. I almost broke my hand open, bleeding everywhere because I couldn't open the bottle. But here's the thing, I'm not thankful for that, but what I am thankful for is the PSVR. And Alex and I have laid out a PSVR Thanksgiving spread for you. So, Alex, we're going to go through the main Thanksgiving staples, all the foods we know and love. We're going to associate those with PSVR games, and I want you to start us off.
We're spreading. We're spreading for PSVR is what we're doing.
We're spreading, wide open. This is big Montana country out here, Bubby.
Yeah, so this is our PSVR Thanksgiving meal. So Thanksgiving, you got all sorts of food. There's varying quality, varying importance and significance, and they all play a specific role on your Thanksgiving plate. And here we've identified the PSVR games that play those specific roles on the plate. We'll just start with the big boy. It's an easy answer, Adam, right? The turkey.
Well, is it? Is it the easy answer? I would argue there are many answers. We've narrowed it down to one, but I feel like there's a lot of answers here.
There is a bit of personal preference, although the thing about turkey is that it is the culturally accepted main dish of a Thanksgiving meal. Even though I don't think anybody likes turkey the most.
What?
No, people like turkey, but like if I could have Thanksgiving pizza, like all this stuff, and then pizza, like that's great. Or maybe you want chicken or something different, buffalo wings. I don't know. But everybody goes to turkey. So this is like the obvious answer of what you have to have when you play PSVR, when you have a PSVR plate, not only is it obvious, it has to be filling and substantial as well. So that's why you're not seeing Astrobot as the answer here, because it's good. It's a full-on game. It's not filling. It's not substantial. We need something with legs on it. We need something with wishbone we can break.
This is the issue with some of these, and that we disagree. You haven't even finished the game, so I don't think you have the right to say if it's filling and if you want to go back for more. But here's the thing. So Astrobot was in consideration. I feel like the persistence should have been in consideration. You really like Saints and Sinners. Would it be turkey level, or is it not quite there yet?
It's not quite there yet. It's good. This is a game that everybody who has PSVR is going to be like, yeah, I get it. That's the one. That's the one. You got it. You have to have it. You have to have it. Maybe you haven't played it and beaten it. Maybe you're not even going to eat turkey, but you're going to have turkey at your Thanksgiving dinner. You know?
That's true. You gotta at least have a nib. Everyone has a nib and a nip, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And Adam, dude, am I revealing what game it is?
Sure.
So the turkey is Resident Evil 7, obviously.
Of course.
Obviously. This is the launch title. This is effectively a launch title. This is the game. Anytime somebody has PSVR, the first thing out of your mouth talking to them is like, you've played Resident Evil 7, right? It's what turkey legitimizes the meal on Thanksgiving. Resident Evil 7 legitimizes PSVR as its own platform or headset, or even its own spot in the ecosystem, because it's still the only way to play Resident Evil 7 in VR. So yeah, that's an obvious turkey right there. But now we move on. We move on to mashed potatoes and other items, and it gets more interesting, Adam. How about you lay out what the mashed potatoes mean for us for this Thanksgiving
It does.
VR
So
meal?
the beautiful thing about mashed potatoes is we do have a bit of a differing opinion here as well, Alex. Most of these we came to a singular conclusion. Mashed potatoes are different because I love mashed potatoes. I get a little turkey and I get a whole lot of mashed potatoes, and I dip my dinner roll into the mashed potatoes, and that's the majority of my meal on Thanksgiving Day. You don't really like mashed potatoes. So I think that mashed potatoes they're very good. They are substantial. They're versatile. You could eat them with the dressing, with turkey, with gravy, with bread on their own. You can have twice baked potatoes. Like, they're very versatile, and it's something you want to continue to eat and just stuff yourself with. That is why my mashed potatoes is Wipeout. Wipeout is still such an incredible game. In my opinion, the best racing game on PSVR. The music is awesome. When you play in that first person mode, you wouldn't think it really adds much to a racing game, but dang, it feels different, dog. It feels different. I mean, it is just an incredible game. It's cheap. You get a ton of content. There are the different modes. There's multiplayer. It is everything you want. It is as versatile of a PSVR game there is on the market. I love it. I need it. That's why it's my mashed potatoes.
It feels different, dog. It feels different.
It feels different.
My mashed potatoes, I'm not a big fan of mashed potatoes, right? Like, it's one of those things where I always get it. It's always there. It is literally a staple, right? It's potatoes. I never look forward to the mashed potatoes, but when I'm up getting my plate, I see the mashed potatoes, I scoop it up and I put it on my plate, and I'm always kind of glad I did. For that reason, VR Worlds is my mashed potato, because I never look forward to playing VR Worlds. There's a billion other games I should be playing. But when I do, I'm always kind of happy I grabbed it. And I don't need more of it. I'm always happy with the amount that I got. Maybe I got a bit too much. But there's always something in VR Worlds that makes me think, like, yeah, this is it. I'm glad I jumped in here for a bit. I'm glad I played Space Odyssey. I'm glad I re-experienced the luge. I'm glad I enjoyed the shark attack. They don't stand up on their own, but it is okay to have just every once in a while as like a staple. If you got VR, you probably got to have VR Worlds just so you could do these little things, add it to other experiences, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Is ginger beer, does it have alcohol in it? Because this thing is strong. It's got some kick.
I think that's just ginger. Maybe you're allergic to ginger.
No, I love ginger. I drink ginger tea, but this is, I love it.
I mean,
It's
it would
very
say on the
good.
bottle, right? Did they card you when you bought it?
They never card me. Look at me. I look at them. I'm like, you peasant, you fool. You clown, bozo. Don't
They
even
just
ask.
they just say we know he's not 21. That's we're just gonna let him. This is enough. He's here so often. We got to appease him.
Okay, moving on to the dressing. Here's the thing: dressing, it's good, but it's not substantial enough to eat on its own. No one is just like, I want some dressing with nothing else. That would be nasty. It complements the main dish, which is turkey, but it's still very good. So that is setting the table. And we had discussions here, but Alex, what do you think is the perfect incarnation, if that even makes sense or is even a word, of dressing for the PSVR?
Yeah, I guess just to elaborate a bit, like dressing for me, I love dressing, right? Every time I have dressing at Thanksgiving, I'm like, this is why am I only eating this once a
You and
year?
I are the absolute opposite. I don't know what is happening.
For me, it's like, why am I eating this only once a year? I should be eating this like once a week. This is great. I'm having a wonderful time eating this meal, but I never eat it on its own. If I do try to eat it on its own, it's not that great. So thinking of a game that like it's not a system seller for PSVR. Also a game that by itself isn't that great. It's okay, but it's not that great. So we're thinking about Thumper. Thumper, one of those early launch titles. This is a game that in flat, it's serviceable, it's good, but in VR, it takes it to the next level. And you're thinking, why am I not playing this game all the time? But you never play it again, maybe for like a year later when you're going through your backlog. It's the perfect dressing. Everything about it is great. You're so happy it exists. It deserves its spot on your plate, but you're only going to hit it about once a year, maybe twice a year. And if you try to go too often or play it flat, it's just like this isn't the same. This isn't what I'm looking for. That's why I think Thumper is our dressing on the
Yeah.
plate.
I mean, I totally agree. Flat, I think this game, I wouldn't want to say sucks because it would work and there's nothing bad about the game necessarily, but everything that makes Thumper great in VR, you don't have. So VR makes it. And this is a game, I don't know about you, Alex, but I do want to go back before we get to PSVR 2. It is a game, I mean, it is very good. You feel the weight and the heaviness of the atmosphere and the darkness and it's good. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, looking along the horizon at what's coming, right? You're playing the game, you can see that horizon in VR, whereas it feels very 2D and flat. The other thing is like playing Thumper on just the flat screen without VR is kind of like playing Guitar Hero with a controller, right? Like the mechanics are the same, nothing's really that different. It's just not fun anymore. In VR, it becomes a totally different game. It's an experience, and you're enthralled, and you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. It's great. It's dressing.
That's
Adam, let's
right.
let's take it to the next one. Gravy. So here's the deal. Again, I'm not a huge fan of gravy. I think it's too savory. I always get too much of it. But I'm again like mashed potatoes. I'm happy I get it, and maybe this is because I mix my gravy and my mashed potatoes. That's why I have similar feelings about both of them. But yeah, you have to have it, right? You're not going to have Thanksgiving without tasting some gravy, but it doesn't quite seem to hit the same notes that everything else on the plate hits. Um, so that's kind of what I'm going for here, right? With the gravy on the plate, it's a game that maybe there's too much of it. Maybe there's not enough pizzazz to it. It's just kind of a flat taste. Um, and you enjoy it, but it doesn't quite meet your expectations for what you like. What game are you thinking, Adam?
This is has to be No Man's Sky. Now, I preface No Man's Sky is very impressive. It is a good game, but the issue is it is so large and it's such an open universe, not even a world, universe that it's just too much to bite. You can't, what's that saying? Too much bite to chew, or what is it?
We're
Something
going to
like
go with that. I know exactly what you're trying to say. I'm not going to correct you. I
I
like the
hate
way
you.
you
You're
said
the
it.
too
Too much
too
bite to chew.
too much bite to chew. And it really is like I like the game, but there's just so much grinding and there's too much to explore, and the plot is too in depth. Like I know when I started that game, there's no way I'm gonna finish it. And that is it's not a great spot for a game to be in, or even you as a gamer, because either I invest 250 hours in it and I finish it, or I don't. And then there's always like an empty void, and it makes me lack motivation to continue to play it, knowing I will never finish it. I don't even understand what's happening. So to me, this is the perfect synonym or metaphor for No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I agree, Adam. It's too savory, right? Like it's got the basic gameplay elements like the crafting and the grinding and all that stuff. Like there's too much of that going on, not enough, and I sound like an idiot saying it, not enough explosions, right? Not enough like romance or excitement and stuff going on. And I know it's really cool when you're flying around, but I play the game for 10 hours. I don't get anything like that for so long. Like even yeah, you can get like machine guns or whatever, or blaster rifles and go fight pirates or something, but it feels flat, and gravy feels flat, and that's why No Man's Sky is the gravy. I love it. I need it. It's got to be there, but it's gravy.
Yeah, I've already mentioned that I love dinner rolls. I love them. I
This is where
eat.
we agree, Adam. Dinner rolls could be the turkey of Thanksgiving.
I mean, they're so good. You could turn them into sandwiches. You can eat them on their own. I bought for Thanksgiving this year 2 bags because my mom normally buys 1 bag of rolls and she makes them and stuff, and it's good. But I want more. I'm like, Mom, so I bought my own. I'm taking them. I'll be like, that's your bag. This is my bag. I got a whole bag, baby. Anyhow, dinner rolls are always better than you expect. You're like, oh, it's just bread. I eat bread all the time. There's something, it hits different, man. It hits different, and I just absolutely love it. But dinner rolls, never a reason to put on the headset. You have these dinner rolls, but it's something that you're not gonna have Thanksgiving because of the dinner rolls necessarily. You're not gonna have this game, or you're not gonna buy a headset specifically for this game, but dang it, you love it, you want it, and it's great. What do you got, Alex?
Yeah, I mean dinner rolls. You ever finished a Thanksgiving and been like, I had too many dinner rolls? I don't think that's ever happened to me. I've had
Never.
too much turkey. I've had too much dressing. I've had too much, pie and stuff like that. I've never been like, I should have said no to one more dinner roll. And for that reason, that's why I'm saying Battlezone, baby. I've never had too much Battlezone. Again, it's not a system seller. It's not something that I don't go home and say, "Oh, I'm just going to put on my headset and play some Battlezone and just kind of zone out." That's the reason I'm playing a game today. But no, it's my headset is on. I've had some turkey. I played some Resident Evil 7. I peed myself. Now I got to just like wash it down with some dinner rolls, wash it down with some Battlezone, and just make an evening of it. Battlezone, perfect dinner roll food.
And that may be the game in PSVR 2 that I'm going to miss the most because the times we played Battlezone is just an absolute freaking hoot. I am going to miss it. I hope maybe one day they'll come back with a Battlezone 2. That would be incredible. It's probably not going to happen though, is it?
How much would you pay for Battlezone 2? Say Battlezone 2 was coming out and the price tag was a big question mark, and they were like, depending on how much you pay here, we will launch this. How much you're willing to pay for this game? It's like
70 bucks. Full price.
70 bucks?
Day one purchase. Not a doubt in my mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? When you know it's the goods, you're willing to pay top dollar.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, like, it was good on its own, but then once you have 3 of your buddies, it turns into literally an entire freaking party. I
Yeah.
mean,
What
we probably
what
the
happened?
hardest we've ever laughed is probably in Battlezone.
Well, I'm just like Battlezone. It's so good and it works so well. I'm wondering why it didn't take off. Like, why is this not a runaway success for VR? You know, because it's a
Maybe it
dinner
was
roll.
too early, and so by the time people adopted the VR and bought, and a ton of people had headsets, there were already so other games like Resident Evil 7 that they were like, why would I want to play Battlezone when I could play, Persistence and Resident Evil 7 and Astrobot, and maybe on paper it doesn't look as good as it actually is. Maybe
Maybe
people
I don't.
don't play with us, so they don't have a good time. I don't know what it is,
I
man.
mean, I certainly see ways it could be better, right? Like if there was a competitive multiplayer, like imagine like a 2-on-2 or a 4-on-4 Battlezone, like capture the flag type thing. That'd be so fun. But even as it is, it's such a fun standout game, and it's like an easy system. Like you don't need the moves, right? You just use the controller. It's intuitive. It makes sense, and you're just looking around having to fight. Anyways,
Yeah,
we
I
don't
mean,
get we don't gotta get
I,
stuck in this, but this is definitely a time capsule game if we don't get it for PSVR 2.
yeah, which again, I don't know. So anyhow, we're going back, or now we're going into the sketchy part of Thanksgiving dinner. We've got the green beans because the thing is, every Thanksgiving dinner does have green beans. And do you really want green beans No. Are they always there? Yeah. I know it's vegetables and you eat it because you have to. You get all these mashed potatoes and dinner rolls and pumpkin pies and all this stuff. And you're like, maybe I should eat something that's a vegetable. That's the green beans. So that's where we're coming from. It's there. You got to play it because it's in the system and it's good enough that you feel like you need to have some, but you don't really want to and you don't really like it. I don't want to get blasted for this answer, so I'm going to let you do it, Alex.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Adam. You don't want to get blasted. The whole reason you eat green beans isn't because you like green beans. The whole reason you eat green beans is because everybody else is eating green beans, and everybody else tells you you need to eat some green beans with the rest of the stuff you're doing. What is the game that everybody tells us we need to play? We need to try again. We need to give it a shot. Firewall 0 Hour. We don't want to play it. We're done with it. It's not super enjoyable, at least in its current iteration. Now, the new one coming out might be good, but the way it is currently, it's a chore. It's taking up space on my VR, just like it's taking up space on my plate. I'm getting it because everybody else is looking at me like, yeah, you're going to talk about it, but you're not going to play it? No, I'll play it. I'm going to eat it. Firewall 0 Hour, baby. It's the green bean of the system, for sure.
Think about it. It even makes sense. Well, maybe not in the green bean sense. It's like you sit in line waiting for food at Thanksgiving, like waiting for an open game in Firewall, and then you get up there and there's only like a sliver of turkey left, or you can only get one scoop of mashed potatoes and you have to get back in line again. That's what it's like.
You sit in line, you get to the end, there's just all that's left is green beans, and you're like, well, you get your food, right? You got a little bit, you eat it all, then it's like green beans, and so like while you're waiting for seconds to come out, for the next load up to come out, you're eating the green beans, and you're just like killing time until the excitement of the action.
That's awesome.
It's the lobby food, yeah.
So this one I think this is where you and I also differ. I don't know what your answer would be, but corn for me is along the same lines, but it's even worse because it's a vegetable. You eat it, and again, you eat it because you kind of have to. You feel obligated to, but it's not very good. And then as it passes through you, it ends up stinking because it's left in your turds. Like it smells and you want to flush it down the toilet. That's what Arizona Sunshine is for me. I know some people love it. Even without the aim controller, it was just hot garbage. Horrible. And then the aim controller came out and I tried it again. It improved the gameplay some, but it was just a very predictable wave shooter. The accent and the jokes the main character tried to land were horrendous. It wasn't very interesting. The multiplayer borderline didn't work at all. It glitched and it was a mess when Alex and I tried to play it together. It's just bad. I don't know what people see in it. I'm baffled. It stinks, it sucks, and it smells. It belongs on my turds, and it belongs flushed down the toilet.
I think you're a bit too harsh on both corn and Arizona Sunshine, Adam. Now, you are right. Arizona Sunshine has been reprocessed and processed and gone through the whole gamut of your digestive system, just like Arizona Sunshine has gone through the gamut of the digestive system of the VR ecosystem. It's been on PCVR. It's been on everything until it finally, shoved its way through to PSVR, and we got this kind of a hand-me-down, semi-digested version of Arizona Sunshine. But much like corn, Arizona Sunshine is versatile, right? You can eat corn on the cob. You can eat just corn, what is it? Shucked corn off the cob. You can eat creamed corn. Just like that, Arizona Sunshine, you can play with the DualShock. You can play with the Move controllers. You can play creamed corn. You can play it with the aim controller. And you're going to get a different experience each time and different levels of enjoyment each time. There's versatility here. Also, like corn, you never run out. There's always more to handle, always more to do. And in Arizona Sunshine, there's a ton of zombies, and there's a wave shooter mode. And so if you do like what it's offering, there's plenty for you to enjoy. I personally thought Arizona Sunshine was pretty fun. Like it's no like Left 4 Dead, right? It's not a polished game, but it's a fun game to play. And it was fun to play with Move controllers. Once you get used to the controls, it was fun to play with the aim controller. And it felt like it justified its position on my plate. felt like it justified its position on my console, and I had a good time with it. Now, as far as multiplayer, I don't know how multiplayer factors into corn. Like, how do you eat corn with somebody else? The multiplayer was
The
just as
Lady and the
awkward.
Trampet.
Yeah, it was.
You're both on one end of the
Yeah.
ear, and you.
It's just as awkward playing multiplayer in Arizona Sunshine as it would be if you and I were eating corn off of the same cob.
Can't say. I'm not even gonna go there. Cranberry sauce, baby. So here's the thing, and I fully agree with this statement. I don't even know what it is. Like, what is it? I know obviously cranberries have to be involved, but it's in like a gelatin, but it's not jello. So I don't know what it is. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it homemade? Does it come out of a can? Some people love it. Family members, they'll put up fists. They'll square up with you if you don't bring the cranberry sauce. And then others, like myself, I could take it or leave it. I don't like it. I don't want it. That is what this game symbolizes for the PSVR. And it's one near and dear to your heart, Alex.
Yeah, cranberry sauce. Like you said, is it good? Is it bad? Who knows? Who knows what it is? Who knows why it's here? Now, but here's the thing about cranberry sauce. It's a flavor experience that you're not finding anywhere else on the plate. Where else are you going to find tart? The sweet tart flavor of cranberry sauce. Where else are you going to get that on your PSVR Thanksgiving plate? Nowhere. Nothing is providing you the experience and quality that Stunt Kite Masters VR is giving you. Stunt Kite Masters VR is a tart, sweet experience that I'm not getting anywhere else. And I agree, nobody else may want it, but I need it to be there. And what's even better is, like cranberry sauce, you don't put it on your plate yourself. Somebody's making a plate for you. Your mom's making a plate for you. She hands you the plate, and there's this cranberry sauce because honestly, she doesn't know it. She doesn't know if you're gonna like it. Just like when your mom buys you a game for Christmas, she doesn't know what you like. She's just buying what they sell at the store. And they had way too many Stunt Kite Masters at the store. So they sold one to your mom. She gave it to you. You played it. Guess what? You're a fan of cranberry sauce now. You're a fan of Stunt Kite Masters VR now. It's great. It's great. You have no idea how this happened. You have no idea why you like it. You have no idea how it fits on the plate, but it's there, and you're so glad it is because it's bringing something to the table that nothing else is bringing. Stunt Kite Masters VR, it's cranberry sauce. I'm happy. You're mad. That's the way it needs to be.
Well, I can't disagree with that because it sucks. Okay, last thing in this PSVR Thanksgiving feast is the pumpkin pie. My favorite dessert during Thanksgiving. It's sweet. It goes down easy. I always want more. For many, many years, I'm going to say 8 to 10 years in a row, Alex, I used to eat an entire pumpkin pie every Thanksgiving. It was awesome. It was a great tradition. That's what I want right here. And that is why this game has to be, in my opinion, Astrobot. How about you tell us why?
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head. It's sweet. It goes down easy. You always want more of it. Proof of concept. Astrobot demo is out and everybody's like, we need more of this. But really the thing is that, watch when I say these words, how excited you are about it. Would you like some pumpkin pie? Suddenly you're really in. I say pumpkin, you're like, maybe. I say pie, you're like, yeah, I want it. Would you like a action platformer? In VR, bam, you got it. You're suddenly in. You are suddenly in. We don't need another platformer. We need another platformer in VR, baby. That's what we want. You can't say no to pumpkin pie, just like you can't say no to Astrobot. And you might not finish it, but that's okay. It's not there to be finished. It's there to be had and enjoyed. Just like me.
I disagree
having and
with
enjoying
that.
Astrobot, but never finishing it.
I think you're an idiot, first of all. Here's the thing with Astrobot. It has wonderful level design. It is so clever. I mean, it is absolutely a brilliant game. And that's why it's got to be the sweetness. And also, I think part of this too, Alex, has to do with Astro himself, right? Being the center, like Astro is such a lovable character. Like, I didn't like Moss. This is a little mouse. They're just trying to make a cute little character. I want to drown it. But Astro doesn't seem like a blatant just attempt to have some cute looking character that we already associate with being cute. Astrobot is a cool little robot. He's versatile. He's got tons of friends. He still ends up being cute, but people, it's like, hey, Astro, and then they're like, and then bot, and then people are in, just like what you were saying. So, how much do you think it's the game, or mainly the character, what they've done kind of with that little franchise, and then what we want Astro to be?
Well, I mean, they could have made any game like a VR platformer, right? They could have done Crash Bandicoot. They've done Super Lucky's Tale in VR, very similar gameplay styles, and it's not quite the same. There's a certain level of attitude and like irreverence in Astrobot that makes him super enjoyable for adults, but also enjoyable as kids, right? Like he's relatable, he's cute, you enjoy seeing him around, but also he's like, kind of goofy, kind of irreverent, and that's what makes him fun. I mean, the real litmus test of Astrobot is like if there was an app like on the iTunes store or Google App Play Store or whatever that was like, Astrobot RPG, I'd probably get it. I'm down with
Oh yeah,
Astrobot.
I would
Whatever
buy it.
Astrobot's doing, I'm ready to play because I like the
Uh-huh.
dude. And that's a testament to Astrobot and how lovable he is. Just pumpkin pie is lovable. And they did a really good job. And it's great that it came about organically, right? Like Astro existed. I think a little bit like some of the attitude is there for like the PlayStation 4 camera like app, but really Astro came into his own for PSVR. And then it was so likable and enjoyable they made a game that was so successful and likable that they made a PS5 based game. And now it's become a thing. Like nobody anticipated this VR component to become this critical darling of the Sony ecosystem. And it is. And they'd be foolish to not, accept that and capitalize on it.
Yeah, I think so. I know Mario has a stronghold on gaming mascots in general. He's been around for so long, rightfully so. He is like the foundation of gaming, you could argue. But if Sony really wanted to, and they actually tried to make Astro like the mascot of PlayStation, how do you think he would fare?
So they tried this, right? Like they tried with Jack and Daxter. They tried with Ratchet and Clank. Microsoft tried a handful of times with like Blinks, the time traveling cat, and stuff like that to make these mascots. They tried with Crash Bandicoot to make these mascots that are just as relevant as Mario. And it never worked because it reeked of trying too hard. They're trying too hard to make a mascot. When they stopped trying hard and they let the gameplay shine and let the gameplay sit front and center, that's when Astro came into his own and it became a mascot. So my thought is that, Sony doesn't need to try to make him a mainstay for the Sony ecosystem. He already is. Just make good games based around him. Like Adam, if they made Astrobot Kart VR, you would buy that day one, wouldn't you? A Mario Kart, but it's Astro
Yeah.
in VR. Like imagine how thrilling that's better than Sackboy. That's better than anything else they're doing. This is a mascot that has legs and we want him and we enjoy him and you have a studio dedicated to him. Like it's set, it's right there front and center for him to take.
But that's the thing that angers me is that it doesn't seem like they want him to be anything. They come out with a game involving him once every 3 years, 4 years, probably 3 years. Like have games that feature him because people will buy them. That's how he gets more recognition. That's how we love him more. I agree they have to be good games. And maybe don't try too hard, but try at all. I think in past podcasts we've talked about we would spend good money for Astrobot figurines. And this year they had a pre-order for I forgot what they call them, Nenoroid or some type of little desktop figurine, a company that's very popular for making them. They finally have one of them, but that's the only I've searched Astrobot shirts, figures, plush toys. They don't exist. It's like Sony isn't even trying. That's what I'm upset about. They've got this, I don't want to say, golden goose or something, but they've got something substantial here. And they're just like, I don't know, maybe in a few years, he'll be a pack-in game to show the new features. Like, oh man. Like, I know he wouldn't take down Mario, but it's the closest thing I've seen in a long time that could compete. Because he's cute. The thing with freaking Crash Bandicoot and Ratchet and Clank, like they're not that likable.
Yeah.
They're trying to be edgy, that they look like kids characters, but then they say adult stuff. Like it doesn't work. Astrobot, they're not trying. They're just like, we wanted a good game, a good character. That's exactly what they got. Push it. It makes me that if we bring back airing of grievances, or should I say when, we're just not upset about anything now. That is the thing that may tip it off right there, big boy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I do think inadvertently they are avoiding the try too hard pitfall by not releasing enough Astrobot stuff. But I do think it's like Astrobot, when the PS5 came out, Astrobot was the system seller and it was a pack-in, right? Like that was the best game on PS5 to come out. That was what we were looking for. You know, Demon Souls is great, right? But it's a remake, but everybody was talking about Astrobot. The fact that they didn't have Astrobot, but instead of 5 levels, they have like 100 levels in a fully fledged game that's just really fun to play. That's like Sony. You should have taken that ball and run with it a bit. You would have scored a touchdown. Would have been great. But Adam, let's move on real quick. Briefly, we had a comment from a listener.
You know what? I'm going to cover it next segment.
Okay. All right.
What we're going to do is we're going to discuss user comments on YouTube's. We're going to talk about the 5 games each one of us are thankful for in PSVR. And then, of course, we got to hit the sales. There's some sales. I'm going to tell you what to buy and what not to buy, because our time to play these games is shrinking. That means you got to be smarter with your money. That PSVR 2 is kind of expensive, so stick with us. We'll be right back.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pumpkin pie. Adam, I got pumpkin pie. That's a 99 episodes of Play PSVR.
This wasn't part of it. What the?
That's right. My gamer juice, this segment of the podcast, is pumpkin pie. I had an early Thanksgiving with my fam, and we had some pumpkin pie left over, and now it's all mine, and we get to enjoy the sounds of me eating it. I hope
you like a 40-minute segment of just listening to Alex eat pumpkin pie, because that's all it's going to be. That is disgusting. Okay, I want to cover this real quick so we don't gloss over it. So we had a comment this week on the YouTubes on one of our podcasts, or the last episode, that is. I'm just curious why we refuse to get the Quest 2. However, I will admit the word refuse, it was a little strong, but I personally do not have a Quest 2. I have not purchased it for reasons we'll discuss. Alex does have a Quest 2. So, Alex, what percentage? I'm just curious to introduce this. You have like all 3 of the freaking headsets, you bum. Let's just say PSVR and which 2 of the 3 that you have do you use most? Let's put it that way first.
I use PSVR the most because I have I have a podcast dedicated to it, but the other one it's readily available and set up, right?
We also have a Play Quest, the podcast, Play Valve, the podcast. If you guys,
no, I do have a Quest 2, and I have used it. I played like Half-Life Alyx through it. I played a handful of games through Resident Evil 4. So I do have that, but the one that gets the most mileage is the PSVR one. Maybe because it's a podcast, maybe because it's just easiest to like plop on and go. For me at least, I understand why people with the Quest might think that's the easiest one to get going because it's wireless and whatnot. But for me, it's easy to just grab and go my PSVR with the setup that I have and get going with it. That's the one I play the most.
Yeah. So and then it got us thinking. He was like, well, why don't you have one? And so I had my reasons back in the day, but I haven't really visited it recently. So I'm going to list why I don't have one. You do, so you can kind of right my ship where I may be wrong. And then some things you're not going to be able to fix. Like, for example, time. I don't have time. I barely have enough time to play PSVR to the extent to where I feel comfortable sharing information and hosting a podcast on it, let alone also playing a Quest and the games there. So I just simply don't have enough time. You certainly don't have enough time, but I guess you still found reasons to purchase it. So is there any reason why I should sacrifice more of my time to play Quest? Like, I know there's a lot of variables there, but a very quick overview in your mind.
If PSVR 2 wasn't so imminent, then there might be a reason to get a Quest 2 just for the better tracking system, right? Like the Move controllers suck. And they're a real downgrade. They're a real anchor to the experience of PSVR. Like the games you get, they don't have an analog stick on the Move controller, so you have issues with how to move around and stuff like that. So that if PSVR 2 wasn't coming out in a handful of months, then that might be a reason to get a Quest 2. Now that PSVR 2 is coming out, you're going to get a headset that's better than the Quest 2 in terms of resolution. In terms of like graphical ability, it's going to be better than Quest 2. In terms of like the quality of games, maybe the tracking, foveated rendering, eye tracking, that's all going to be better than Quest 2. There's really no reason for you to dive into the Quest 2 ecosystem now when we know that the PSVR 2 is coming out imminently. So yeah, I can't think of a good reason to tell you to get it now. But if you are like me and games like Half-Life Alyx are supremely enticing to you and you really feel like you need to play that, you need to experience it, you have a PC that is capable of handling the graphical horsepower necessary to play a game like Half-Life Alyx in VR, then maybe you'd want to get one. I mean, it is a fun experience to be able to wirelessly sync to my PC and play Half-Life Alyx in VR, despite the jitters and things like that come with it. But we're getting those experiences or those level of quality experiences very soon. So it's like you're not really missing the boat too much.
Yeah. And I would also assume the controllers are going to be better because they're similar and now they have all that cool tech. So there's one. Also money. So Quest 2 is $400. I saw online today. And PSVR 2 is pretty freaking expensive. So I don't have infinite money. That has to be a factor. And you're right. PSVR 2 is coming out. Why spend a good amount of money on the Quest 2 when probably I'm not going to play it as much? That definitely comes into it as well. Seems like a lot of the games I could play on Quest 2, I can also play on the PSVR. I know each one of them have their exclusives, and like on Quest, I can play Resident Evil 4. I can't on the PSVR. I know certainly there's some titting and tatting between the two, but in general, it seems like what I would want to play on Quest, for the most part, I could play on the PSVR. Is that
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a compromise, right? Like what you gain in the ability to control on the Quest with the analog sticks, that's a nice thing. The tracking is better, the controls are better. You lose graphical fidelity. The PS4 is still more powerful than the Quest. The Quest is like a glorified cell phone strapped to your face. The other point is that the Quest is supremely uncomfortable. It's not a very nice device to wear on your head. We've been spoiled by the PSVR, the weight distribution of it, the overall lightness of it. The Quest like feels like it's constantly falling off the front of your face unless you pay another like $100 more to get like a battery pack or something or an advanced, headset to attach to the Quest to make it actually fit like a normal VR headset. So if you have money's the issue, Quest is going to be a problem because you have to invest more money to make the games have graphical quality that you're looking for, but also to make the headset in and of itself comfortable. And make the battery life something that's worth, dealing with. I think without the way I get around it, I have a battery pack that hangs onto the back. It kind of balances the weight, so it makes it a bit more comfortable, and that gives it a bit more life and longevity in the battery system. But again, that's investment. That's more money you got to throw at it. PSVR, you can get one for $100 now and play super hot VR and not really have much of a compromise when you play it. You can play Moss and not really have any issues playing it, and it's going to look better than it's going to look on Quest. So.
Unless you have a PS5, then you're screwed. Found that out the hard way. Screw you, Alex. So the other reason was, and I think you told me that this isn't an issue anymore. The thing is, I'm a rebel, Alex. I don't know if you can tell. I am a straight up rebel. I hate Facebook. Despise it. It has been the vein of my existence for a long time. At some point, if I am correct, the Quest, you had to have Facebook. And I refuse. It seems like I know there's a word for it and I can't think of it. I don't know if it's a type of government or just like a theory, but forcing you to abide and get their social media platform just so you could play a system that you already paid $400 for just seems ungodly wrong and ridiculous, and I'm not going to do it. I hate social media. I'm not getting Facebook. I don't like Zuckerberg. I don't like Facebook. I don't want anything to do with it. And even if now, which very quickly, yes or no, that is or is not the truth anymore.
Yeah, you don't have to have Facebook anymore to play on the Quest, but when you buy a Quest, that increases the number of people who have a Quest, which increases the number of, which increases the incentive for developers to make games for the Quest, which then increases, the motivation for people to move themselves in the direction of Zuckerberg's like vision of like a metaverse that he's wanting to, capitalize, monetize, push things in that direction. Good or bad, who knows what it's ending up as, but if you have some kind of desire to oppose the Zuckerberg metaverse, then buying into a Quest is certainly not opposing that metaverse, right? It's playing into his hands. I I know you wanted to the brief, but I will just say that if Quest is the leading headset, then that's pushing us in a direction with VR that I don't necessarily want. I don't want VR to become a tool of like you know, a tool of the corporation to make like some kind of, oh, we could train people with VR headsets. I don't want VR to be a tool for work. I really enjoy VR being a tool for play, for fun, for creativity. I want that. I don't want to wear a VR headset to learn how to bag groceries. I want to wear a VR headset to learn how to blast aliens. I want to wear a VR headset to learn how to, you know, hack into the world computer in Res Infinite or something crazy like that. That's what I want this to be. And I feel like if you're buying into the whole meta ecosystem, you're moving in this direction that Zuckerberg wants to move because he wants to make a lot of money off of this ecosystem and then maybe bring some games along for the ride. But Sony, on the other hand, is they're games first, and then all this other stuff might come along with it, but it's games first, a premium gaming experience first. That's what I want VR to be. I need it to be entertainment. I don't need it to be a tool for me.
Yeah. And I mean, at some point this may be getting too political and like is me refusing to get Quest really gonna matter? Like, no, his vision's probably gonna happen anyhow, a whole thing there. That's not like a main driving force, but just when you put all of these things together, it's just like why, and I'm not interested in it. The only thing it has that I'm interested in is the fact that it's wireless. Also, now that you say that, do you remember back in the day when they used to give PlayStation consoles with these educational games to come with it? So people were like, "Oh, I got a PlayStation at school," but then, of course, the educational games were garbage. Imagine like your family, your kids one day coming home with a VR headset, and now that's like new PlayStation where they're in the headset and they're gonna learn about, I don't know, pretend if you were in the Civil War. Look at the catastrophe or something like that. That would be wild. Uh Intriguing. Like as a kid, I don't know, I might like it. Anyhow, so I just wanted a decent conversation there. That's why I don't have a Quest 2. Here's the thing. We know just from Corporate Zombie that sometimes Alex is wrong. Not too often, but sometimes he is. If he has told me something incorrect, you let me know. If you think I need to get a Quest, please tell me. I'm not opposed to it, but I laid out my reasons. You have to convince me otherwise. But before that, or just to move on, Alex, I want to talk about the games that we are most thankful for on the PSVR. So on our website, playpsvr.com, I wrote an article this week about the 5 games I'm most thankful for. And it's not just what are the best 5 games. That's not the point here. It's the games you're most thankful for, add a spin to it. I also did a YouTube video about it. You can check that out on our YouTubes. Gaming is in Session. That's our YouTube handle there. So I will begin and then we'll just go back and forth because I'm intrigued in your answers. So my first one, probably to no amazement here, is To the Top. I freaking love To the Top. It is a smaller kind of indie development team, Electric Hat Games. It has incredible music. It has some of the best I would argue maybe the best level design of any PSVR game. You could argue it would be Astrobot, and I think that would be a good debate, maybe a good master debater, but it's very close. It is so clever. Even the ending credits are a level and have just a brilliant level design. It really is. It is so smart and clever. It has multiplayer, a single player campaign. It's got hidden items within the levels that really motivate you to go back. And how do I do this faster? Because there's time travel or time trials. There's how do I get to certain areas to get the, and they're cleverly placed. Like it's not just like, oh, where is this thing? Like you really gotta hunt to find these things. And it is just an absolute joy to play. I'll leave it at that. I mean, holy crap, is that game good? I freaking love it. Another game, I'm gonna have to play more, finish it, do one more final run from start to finish before the PSVR 2 comes out. What's your first game?
Yeah, To the Top is a good one. Adam, we're going to find a theme of you stealing the games that I would have picked, but it's understandable. We like a
Would
lot
you
of the
have
same
picked To
games.
the Top?
It would have been on my list, but I have not
No
put it on my
way.
list.
I didn't
Yeah.
think you liked it that much.
No, man, it's an awesome game and it feels really good. Once you get like the groove down of how to move in that game, and you understand what you're going for with like the flow of like grabbing something, launching yourself, grabbing something, launching yourself. It's really an incomparable experience.
Do you remember when we first got it? I did a golden stream and I sucked to
Mhm.
high effing heavens. Electric Hat Games joined the stream, and one of the developers actually like typed in and tried to help me figure it out because I didn't get it. I didn't get
Oh,
that
nice.
groove. And it was so cool to have him. I think even on the stream, I never really got it. But after an hour or two, it clicked or something. And then you're right. It's thoroughly enjoyable. But that was a really cool moment for me that like these guys are like watching streams. And I just got to talk to a developer. And he was like, no, sometimes you need to double hop on the same launch pad and go forward. It was a neat moment. So I'm glad I stole it from you. It's my baby. Up yours.
No, fair enough. I'll steal one from you. Res Infinite. Res Infinite was. It's a game I'm thankful for. I mean, even outside of VR, it's a game I'm thankful for because it opened my eyes as a young lad about video games to understand that video games can be more than just action adventure, slashing, bashing. That games could be kind of an artistic endeavor that could be consumed time and time again for various soul edifying reasons. And Res Infinite only took that home where you're playing the game and area X and you're surrounded by the environments that you're surrounded in normal res, but it just takes it to the next level and it becomes a true experience. Despite they say experience of VR is like a game that really nothing happens and it's kind of short and whatever you've gone through it. Res Infinite is a true experience, and so I'm thankful that exists. I'm thankful that a game I loved growing up in the flat space has evolved into the VR space, and I can continue to enjoy it. I know people are tired of hearing us talk about it, but man, what a sweet, sweet morsel that is. So I'm thankful for Res Infinite for sure.
Are they tired of it? I can't really tell. Here's the thing. So Res Infinite Eco Forward Edition for the PSVR, the special VR edition of the game, $75. Is it worth buying, keeping sealed, just so I can display it like I've displayed some near collectibles I have?
Not for display purposes, but for time capsule purposes to ensure that 100 years from now, if you want to play Res Infinite in VR, you will have the ability to. That's why it's worth it.
Do you have the one where he is like white on the front, or do you have this weird eco forward thing?
I don't know what this eco forward business is. I'm having to look it up
I don't
now.
know. Anyhow, I'm going to move on while you look it up. So my next one is Farpoint with the aim controller. So the thing is, the aim controller in itself should probably be the thing, but because it was a PSVR games, I'm thankful for. I had to have a game associated with it, and Farpoint and aim controller go together like peanut butter and jelly. They complement each other perfectly. You smash them together. Farpoint in itself is a good game. It's got a decent plot. It is pretty immersive. There's jump scares slash action. It's a good game. But then when you add the aim controller, it moves it to another level because it just works so perfectly. The aim controller is the best peripheral of any game system I've ever played in my entire life. It is so incredible what that thing can do. And then, of course, Farpoint, you have that single player and now the multiplayer. It serves itself for multiple runs of, going and playing it multiple times. That has replay value. And then it's just so good. And it's also a game I've played. I don't know if I'm going to play it again before PSVR 2 because I've already replayed it. But dang, is it good? I love that aim controller. I'm going to miss it. And I'm sure that was one you probably would have also put on your list, right?
Yeah, that was the first game that I was like, I'll put this on my list. He's not going to have it, and you had it, and I was disappointed. Farpoint, like usually when you have a new peripheral, right? They release a game that is good, but it's perfunctory. It serves a quick purpose, but it's not supposed to be a really good game. We lucked out that when the aim controller came out, it came out with Farpoint, which turned out to be a pretty dang good first-person shooter in VR. Now, the AI is not incredible, but they make up for that with good set pieces and good level design. So when you are playing through, even though it becomes kind of wave-ish where the enemies come, the weapon variety, the enemy variety, kind of how you handle the entire combat scenarios, those are good. And then the story happens to be like pretty decent. Rob Yescombe, one of my favorite game writers, really brought in a tight story for us that made it an enjoyable experience. It's a bit obvious what was going to happen in the end, but it was still kind of fun to see it occur. All told, nothing really stacks up. Nothing really compares to the moment when you have that giant, what is it, head crab or whatever that you fight, that spider monster that you
Yeah.
fight. Like, that is an all-time great gaming moment. And Farpoint gave that to us. Outside of the aim controller, that's an awesome experience. Aim controller thrown in puts it to the next level. I'm so happy this happened on PSVR. I'm so happy we got this.
Okay, we gotta move forward, Alex.
Yeah,
Keep going.
moving forward, I already mentioned a bit. Stunt Kite Masters VR. I love this game. It's a great meditative game. It showed me that the simple, stupid things, simple, stupid games that you wouldn't expect to be good could have some merit to them in VR. In flat space, I'm never going to play this game, right? There's nothing for me here. In VR, there's something new. There's something meditative about it. There's something about the new control scheme, using these new controllers, getting my body into the experience. It just kind of opened the window to me that like what we thought of as a good game, as a fully featured game and a satisfying game in non-VR is not the same as what could be a satisfying game in VR. And I know everybody's going to disagree with me. People don't really like it, but man, it was very exciting and nice and relaxing, oddly enough, to play Stunt Kite Masters VR and be on top of a mountain or on the beach, flying a kite around, which, my God, how do you make a game like that entertaining? They did it. You couldn't have done that in flat space. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that it exists.
Yeah, so if someone comes to me and says, Adam, what's the most underrated game on the PSVR library? I 100% will always say Stifled. It is a game that is so good. It is the first time that like echolocation has been that first game I've played that's used that. And to think that they were clever enough to have a horror stealth game where you actually yell into the headset that it registers your voice and the strength, the decibels of your voice sends out waves into the game, and that's how it illuminates the atmosphere and where you're at so that you can progress. I think is genius. It's clever. I'm sure it probably isn't the first game that's ultimately done that, but it's the first time I've played it. I absolutely loved the horror aspect of it. Had a good plot. It was really stressful because if you're too loud, there's these monsters that'll come after you. So you have to really be able to determine when can I talk? When can I not talk? When do I need to throw things? Where do I go? How do I avoid these guys? It was very stressful. It really was a horror game, certainly stealthy. I love the fact that the PSVR, and I'm thankful for this game specifically because it allowed indie developers to use their creativity, express their creativity in a game that, like you said, is almost artistic in a way. And games you can feel when they've been made with love and passion and motivation to make something that they really enjoy. And I think that's what Stifled is. I love that the game can show you horror and stealth and the creativity of what you can do in a headset and make it so virtual and so immersive. Absolutely love it. Big time game. You probably didn't have that one on your list though, right?
No, but I can respect Stifled for just the sheer audacity of it, right? Like when you think about VR, the whole point of VR is taking the screen, putting it on your face, and opening your eyes to this virtual reality experience. And the first thing these developers do is, yeah, you put the screen on your face, open your eyes, and let's turn off the lights. How crazy is that idea? They did it, they made it work, and it's a very fun game. People have imitated it now moving forward with games like Blind and stuff like that. But this really made an enjoyable gameplay mechanism out of that echolocation, especially utilizing the mount or the microphone. So that's super cool. My next game on the list is Little Star VR. It's another audacious game. No, seriously, my next game on the list is Zing: The Land Beyond. And this is a game. It's kind of like a puzzle game, like an adventure, like Myst or something. But I appreciated this game for trying to go a bit highbrow with it. It doesn't hit all the notes that it aims to hit. But the fact that you could make a game focused on like the meditative experience of VR without just being like a stupid game where you're sitting there with stuff going on around you and you're not really participating. I enjoyed the stories they tell you. I enjoyed the poetry of it. The environments were well done. The overall gameplay was really enjoyable. It was something I'd never expected to see in VR, and other people have tried to do it, but Zing really landed it when they tried to pull this off. You go in there and you feel like you come out a bigger person than you were when you went in. And for that, I'm thankful and I appreciate Zing for doing that in the VR space.
Yeah, all your games are these like meditative artistic games. Dude, you are a pansy. I know I guess I've stolen a couple from you, but dude, okay, so hitting you back with some action. It's gotta be Super Hot VR, man. Super Hot is just so good, and it is one of the games that I love how it's so active. It's the first game you can show a newcomer to VR, and it will destroy their mind because you've never played anything like it if you've never been in virtual reality. The fact that you actually have to move, and I've seen my friends bust their head on desks. I've seen them crawling on the ground. I've seen them jumping and moving in very slow movements to manipulate the game and the enemies. It was one of the first games that I 100% you forget everything. You are fully immersed in the environment, in the action, in the combat. You forget that you're in your world. You forget you're in your living room. You forget what's going on in your life. It is fully immersive. And that, I mean, I don't need to say much more. I know everyone's played it. I am so thankful for what that game brings to virtual reality. You as a gamer, displacing you from your current moment to put you in the game. It's a masterpiece. I played it flat. It's just not the same. Flat game is still good, but when you put that headset on, it is a game changer. It was a game I feel like, I don't know if it really was made for virtual reality, but it was kind of made for virtual reality, whether they realized it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think they didn't make it for virtual reality, but then they found out after they made Superhot, which was released to critical acclaim, they realized, oh my God, VR is a thing now.
Yeah.
Let's do it there. And suddenly, this incredible game mechanic of like time standing still until you move was taken to this next tremendous level with Superhot. So, yeah, in terms of gameplay, it's probably one of the most innovative and enjoyable gameplay mechanisms that could exist in any video game, much less throwing it in VR to turn it up to 11. You know, it's awesome. Um, Other side of the coin, a gameplay mechanic that has existed in flat space for ages and has been good and fine and serviceable is flight. Flying around in airplanes. You know, Top Gun was out on the NES. Games maybe before that had arcade versions of flying around, and it felt all right, but it really felt like you were moving pixels around on a screen. And even when you get up to like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, you're playing Ace Combat, you still just feel like you're moving a HUD around on a screen, and it's fun, but it's okay. Ultra Wings VR came out. It was one of the first flying games where you feel like you're flying an aircraft. And it didn't start off with, you know, you're in a fighter jet and you're dogfighting, you're getting in the business and you know, crashing and stuff like that. You start off with an ultralight glider, like a glorified hang glider with a little power fan behind it. Maybe the most docile and boring flight mechanism imaginable. And it made it thrilling. You flip the switch, you turn on the fuel, you turn on the magnetron, and then you slowly accelerate and slowly take off, and you really feel like you're flying this damn thing. And it it's the most boring game in the world to watch somebody play, but when you're playing it, it's one of the most thrilling and exciting games to play, and you feel incredibly accomplished for some reason because you're like, oh my god, I'm really flying this plane. So I'm thankful for Ultra Wings for being a game that makes me feel like I'm doing something that, to be honest, I'll probably never have the opportunity to really do in real life. It brings me that much closer to actually flying around in an airplane. And as you get better, you do unlock, propeller planes, jet planes, and you get to experience the difficulties of that. But Ultra Wings is just a very realistic feeling and satisfying feeling flight game. Adam's never played it, never will, and he's really missing out on that facet of his life. It's super awesome to just be listening to Spotify and flying around this island and just feel like I'm actually flying this plane. I want to do it all day, and it's great.
Yeah, very weird. I am not going to play it, but you have fun with that. Next game, I feel like maybe I stole from you as well. Vertigo Home. And I know this probably surprises a lot of people because I don't like Vertigo Home. I think it's a garbage game, hot garbage. But the reason this is on my list is because PSVR is so strong and is so influential that it can take a game that is complete horse crap and make it into a memorable experience. Alex and I, even this episode, maybe it was subliminal imaging because we knew eventually we were going to talk about this, but we were like, it's cake time and I'm not a toy. And like we laughed so hard at this game. And it almost is, I don't want to say a cult classic, but people kind of like it because it's so freaking janky and broken and weird. But even though it is in a flat game, it would be just an awful game. A 1 out of 10, maybe a 0 out of 10. But because PSVR is so good, it makes janky games still fun and memorable. Simple enough. That's why Vertigo Home is one of my favorite games, or one of the games I'm most thankful for, not a favorite game. Alex, what's your last one?
Yeah, if you want to know why I love Vertigo Home, go to playpsvr.com. It's like the most recent review we have. I love that game so much, and I talk ad nauseum about it there. My number one most thankful game is Transpose. This is that puzzle game where you record yourself doing something, make a copy of yourself, then do something else, and interact with your own recording. This game is a transformative experience. It's insane the feeling you have when you're like watching yourself, how you behaved in the past, and then start moving yourself intentionally, knowing that you're going to be reviewing what you did in the future. Philosophically, it raises questions. Personally, it makes me evaluate how I interact in my day-to-day business. Sounds like I'm giving it too much credit.
Shrink.
Sounds like I'm giving it too much credit, but this is a very influential game in my life in that aspect of thinking of myself like, how is Alex of the future going to interpret the moves of Alex of the present, and how am I, Alex of the present, interpreting the moves of Alex of the past? I think it's a very important thing to come to grips with, not to mention the game is rock solid, the puzzles are inventive, and the overall atmosphere and unwritten story of the game is very engaging and very exciting. I love this game. I'm so happy it exists. I cannot wait to play it again, and I'm gonna play it again very soon. It's just I'm so thankful this game exists. But with that, Adam, that's our thankful games. I know you hated Transpose. You're not an introspective person. I get it. Let's go into the sales, Adam. We don't have much time. Let's do it.
Yes, I want to tell these people what they buy.
If I can find the sales. Okay, I had the sales, Adam. Are you ready?
Got the sales. Okay.
All right.
Prepare your butts. Here it comes.
95% off Skyworld for $1.49.
Wow, I don't know what that game is, but that's a good price. I'll try anything for $1.50.
All right. Loading Human Chapter 1 for 99 cents.
99 cents?
Yeah.
I just said I would do anything for $1.50, so I guess let's go.
Arizona Sunshine, $5.99.
No, please don't do it.
Deadland VR, 99 cents.
Again, I screwed myself. Let's buy it.
Roller Coaster Tycoon Joyride, $4.99.
No, there's not enough there.
Doom VFR, $3.74.
Dang, that's a good game. If you haven't played and you have an aim controller, yeah, you have to buy it.
The Assembly for $7.49.
Too expensive.
Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, $4.99.
It's a short game. It's not bad. If you haven't played it and you got some extra time, I would consider it. Yeah.
Skyrim, $14.99.
If you haven't played Skyrim now, you don't got time. Pass.
Batman Arkham VR, $4.99.
I'm not buying it. It should be free.
Bloody
Dang it.
Zombies, $3.74.
Killing zombies?
Bloody Zombies.
No.
Shooty Fruity, $5.99.
No, it's not good enough.
Creed, Rise to Glory, $8.99.
Rise out of bed. Don't play that.
Sports Bar VR, $3.74.
No, you'll be playing with yourself like you were in bed before you rose out of it.
Res Infinite, $8.99.
Only if you want just transfixing experience that will change your life.
Football Nation VR Tournament 2018 for $1.49.
Football or football?
Football.
No.
Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight, $8.99.
Dang, the game. Just listen to the soundtrack on YouTube. It's really good. You need to listen to it, but no, don't play that.
Lethal VR, $4.99.
No, awful.
Doom 3 VR, $7.99.
Horrible game. I don't know how.
Tetris Effect Connected, $15.99.
No, awful game. Trash.
Wow. Mind Labyrinth VR Dreams, $7.99.
No, that's like almost like Zing, right? But because
Yeah.
you like Mind Labyrinth too, right?
Yeah, there are things I enjoyed there. Beats Fever, $7.99.
No, it's a Beat Saber ripoff, a bad one.
Brain Beats, $5.99.
Oh, I'm gonna be off my brain. No,
Esper, $3.59.
nah, it wasn't that good.
Unearthing Mars 2, $7.99.
I think it's not a bad game, but yeah, don't do it. Not at this point. You can't do that.
Table of Tales, The Crooked Crown, $7.99.
Gosh, that is a really good game. I would have liked to seen it $5.
Fracked Deluxe Edition, $13.99.
Rick, no.
The Walker, $3.99.
Yeah, I would rather have a walker than play that.
Down the Rabbit Hole, $8.99.
I'll get down a hole, but not the rabbits.
What hole, Adam?
Move on.
Wands, $8.99.
Wands?
Yeah, Wand, WANDS.
Wanda, make me a sandwich. No, don't buy that.
Gorn, $9.99.
No, I tell you every week, is that game is perpetually on sale?
Yeah, Pixel Rib, $19.95 for $9.99.
Yeah, that's not a bad price.
Yeah, Blood and Truth, $19.99.
Oh, I can't think of this game. Blood and Oh yeah, no, don't do it. No.
Iron Man, $19.99.
Oh, please don't. We're freaking ripoff.
Gran Turismo, $9.99.
Oh, I'll just play some Wipeout at this point.
Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Standard Edition, $19.99. This might be upgraded for free to PSVR 2.
See, that's the thing. Do I pull the trigger? I don't have it.
Yeah, you should. The Room VR, A Dark Matter, $14.99.
Dude, watch the movie The Room.
Different room, but okay. Contagion VR Outbreak, $7.49.
I want Fantasia VR. Where is that?
There is a game like that. Coaster, $2.49.
No.
Sam and Max, this time is virtual, $9.99.
No.
Star Drone, $3.99. Yuki, $11.99.
No. What? Say what? No.
Cave Digger, $8.99.
Dang, buy Cave Digger 2.
Shadow Point, $11.99.
No.
Job Simulator, $12.99.
No, there's not enough there.
Star Bear Taxi, $3.24.
Oh, but you love it. You
Yeah,
probably would buy it.
It's good. Fuji, $9.74.
Fuji Apple.
Moss, $19.99.
No. Oof, no.
Moss Book 2, $29.99.
I can't play the first one. Definitely not playing the second one.
Tentacular VR, a PSVR 2 launch title, $22.49.
What? Oh, so these are. No. Oh, it's tough. No, not yet.
All right. Cave Digger 2, Dig Harder, $19.99. And I should note, the new DLC was just launched, and it's free DLC. That adds like an extra guy to hang out with you, I think, and maybe some new levels and bosses.
If you have a friend to play it with you, yes. If not, no.
So I should get it because I'll play with you, Adam.
Yeah, I guess. I have it.
All right. Bartender VR, $13.99.
Are there knockers?
Maybe.
Are there knockers on the front title page?
No, it's a robot. It's a robot.
Then no, don't buy that.
A Fungus in My Garden, $10.49.
Fungus in my pants? No.
All right, and that is it for the sales, Adam. Why don't you take us out here,
Listen,
buddy?
the thing is, we know that Thanksgiving, you have family and they can be awkward to talk to, right? And that's why we here at Play PSVR, we care about you and we're ready to give you the perfect table conversation. Play PSVR 2, the podcast. Next episode is number 100. I cannot believe it. And you know what? You can talk about it at the table. What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? How have we possibly made it this long? These are all things you can talk to your family about. So you're welcome. Listen, we're thankful for the PSVR, but most importantly, we're thankful for you, the listener. Thanks for listening to Play PSVR 2, the podcast where virtual reality is our reality.